In this video, I will be showing you how to pick up easy marks in tomorrow's exam. This is not about teaching you new maths because your exam's tomorrow. This is to make sure you're not losing those easy marks because you don't know how to use your calculator. Okay, so these are questions that come up very often. The first one, write 98 as a product of its prime factors. So on the calculator, you will need the Casio ClassWiz. You literally type in the number 98, press enter or equals, and then you go to format, which is the bottom here. Use the down arrows, click enter. There it is, your number written as a product of its prime factors. You do not need to show any working out. I know it's 2 marks, so some of you think, oh, I'm not going to lose mark for no working, but that will get you both marks as long as the answer is correct. Nice and easy. Okay, next question. Find the highest common factor of 60 and 114. So let's clear that. On this one we go to catalogue. It looks like a little book here. We go down to numerical calculation, press enter, and now GCD is the same as highest common factor, greatest common denominator, and then obviously LCM is lowest common multiple because you could be asked for that as well. So you click on GCD, click enter, it opens up a bracket, you type 60, then you're going to need a comma that is above the right bracket, so it's in, you have to press shift. On my calculator it's in blue, it might be in a different colour on yours. Comma, then type in 114, close the bracket, press enter. You again 3 marks here, and all you need to do is write an answer of 6 and you will get all 3 marks. The other marks are only for if your answer is incorrect, then you get marks for your working, but a correct answer here scores 3 marks. It's as simple as that, and it's going to save you a whole load of time having to draw factor trees. Works the same with a question like this. So we've got 648 written as a product of its prime factors and 540 written as a product of its prime factors. You don't even need to use that. You do it in exactly the same way. So we're going to hit catalogue again, numerical calculation, highest common factor, which is GCD, and then we're going to click 648 again, comma, so shift right bracket, 540. You can even write it in as its product of prime factors. It will still work that way as well. Press enter. There we have it. This is only 1 mark for this one. So you get 108 is 1 mark, and that is it. You don't need to do anything more than that. Okay, the next one is same thing. It's just asking me for the lowest common multiple. So click on here again, little catalogue, go to numerical calculation, lowest common multiple, and again I'm just going to show you. I can type it in 648. I can type in as 2 cubed. Use my right arrow to get back down. Times by 3 to the power of 4. So I use the button with an empty box. 3 to the power of 4. Close bracket, or arrow along, close bracket, so you can write the number in. Oh, sorry, not close bracket. We need to press shift and comma, and then I'm going to write 540 is 540. It doesn't matter which format you write the number in, it will still give you the answer. There we are, 3,240. Again, 2 marks, but all you need to do is use your calculator and you will get both of those marks. No working out required for those questions when you put them in the calculator. Okay, percentages. A lot of people on these ClassWiz calculators don't know where the percentage button is. It's in a bit of a funny place on this one. So you press 36 and then you click on catalogue, and it's under probability. Okay, and there is your percentage button. So there's 36%. Of in maths means multiply. So if you ever see of, so if you're doing a fraction of an amount or you're doing a percentage of an amount, you could, of is the same as multiply. So 36% of 2,500. I just click that in. There we have it, 900 is our answer. Again, no working out required, 2 marks there. Okay, next question. This is a percentage increase question, so you can still use the calculator, but you do need to do one bit of working out first. So 34,000 per year, and he's going to get a 3% increase. So all you need to do here is remember that your original amount that you start with is always 100%. Because we're increasing, we're adding on 3%. So we are finding 103% of 34,000. So we're going to do 34,000 times by 103%. Or 103% times by 34,000. So 103, and again, catalogue, probability, there is my percentage button of 34,000, and that will just add that 3% on for you without you having to work it out and then add it on. And there we have it. My answer here is 35,020, 2 marks. Okay, so these are easy marks you shouldn't be losing. Next one, compound interest, really common, very likely to be on paper 2 or 3. You get a formula for this on the formula sheet. Please use it. So this is the formula, P bracket 1 plus R over 100 to the power of N. That is on the formula sheet. This is your principal amount, which is just your money. R is your interest rate, so it's your percentage you're going to put in there. You do not need to put the percent button in. N is number of years, and it tells you that on the formula sheet. Okay, so please use that. Lots of people make mistakes with this. So all I need to do is plug the values in. So I would write your working out here as well, just in case you type something wrong in your calculator. So 2,500 is my principal amount. 1 plus my interest rate, which is 3%. You don't put percent, you just put 3. And then N is the number of years, which is 4. And then you literally just type that in exactly like that on your calculator. So 2,500, open my bracket. 1 plus, use your fraction button. 3, down arrow, 100. Right arrow. Close the bracket, power of 4, I need to use the empty power button, which has got an empty square, and type in my 4, and that is it. And because it's money, you should be rounding to 2 decimal places with money, so it'll be 0.77, 2 marks. The formula is there, please make sure you use it. Okay, this one is depreciation. So depreciate just means going down. Okay, depreciate means it's gone down. You can still use the compound interest formula for depreciation if it's over a number of years. The only thing you will change, instead of it being 1 plus, you change the plus to a minus here. Okay, so they won't tell you that on the formula sheet. Just remember you can use it and change that plus to a minus. So you can use this formula here. So I'm going to have to use it twice because the first year and the second year are different. So I'm going to plug my values in. 18,000 is the principal amount, the money that I'm working with. 1 minus, it's depreciated by 30%, so 30 over 100. Now it's only for 1 year because that's the first year, so I can either put to the power of 1, but I don't actually need that there. I'm going to work that out first, so 18,000, and then I'm going to open my bracket. I've got 1 minus 30 over 100 here. And then I'm going to close my bracket, and I don't need to put to the power of 1 if it's just to the power of 1. So that's 12,600. So 12,600. I now use this amount to do the next year because this is how much the car is worth after the first year. So I'm going to do the next year now. 1 minus 14% it's gone down by, so 14 over 100, and that's only for 1 year because it says in the second year. Oh, sorry, in the second year and the third year. So that's 2 more years. So we are going to need to put to the power of 2 here. So then I type that into my calculator. 12,600. And then I'm going to do 1 minus 14 over 100. Close, right arrow, close brackets, to the power of 2, so I can use the squared button, and then I press equals, and that is my answer. Now I've got a fraction, so another trick here, you use format and you go down to decimal. You don't want to be given money answers as fractions. So 9318 point, and it's already to 2 decimal places. Really common with depreciation and compound interest questions when there's different amounts from year to year. So you have to work out the first year and then use that new amount. Really common mistake that people make. They stick with the 18,000. You must use the new amount. So a couple of tricks for you there and things to watch out for. Okay, time. A lot of people don't know this, but you can do time calculations on a calculator. Okay, because time, there's only 60 minutes, so you can't add it in the normal way. The time button is actually above the plus button. Now, this is how I'm going to type it into my calculator. So I've got 7:45, which is 7 hours, and then you use the time button, which I'll show you in a minute, and 45 minutes. You have to use the time button after the hours, then after the minutes. The film lasts 98 minutes, so I'm going to have to add 98 minutes. So that's 0 hours. You have to keep the format the same, hours and minutes, and 98 minutes, and then you use the time button again. So when I type this into my calculator, that's what it's going to look like, and that will just give me the answer straight away. Because people often make mistakes when they're in the exam and they're stressed and you're having to add time. So just use your calculator, even if it's something simple like that. So here we go. So 7, the time button is above the plus button, so I have to press shift. 7 hours and 45, and then I have to press shift and the time button again. So you have to do it after every unit of time, and you keep the time formats the same. So plus. Now, because it's just in minutes, I have to put 0, shift, time button, 0 hours, 98 minutes. So shift, time button again. Okay, and then I press enter. So that tells me the film is going to finish at 9:23, and it was PM, so it's going to be PM because it's not gone into AM yet. So that's just a quick trick you can use to work out time calculations. Okay, we're on to some statistics now, and you can use this for your statistics exam next week for paper 2 if you didn't know this. So we are going to go to home now, and we are going to go along to statistics, because this is a statistical calculation. We've just got one set of numbers, so we've got one variable. Now, it will either come up with one column and a frequency column, or you'll just have the first column. Okay, if you haven't got the second frequency column, you will need to turn that on, and that's under tools here, tools, frequency, and on. You don't actually need it on when you've got a list of numbers, but you might as well just have it on all the time. It's not going to make any difference. Okay, so make sure you've got it like this, and all you are going to do is type these numbers that you've got here. You're going to type those in to this list with the X here. Okay, so I'm going to type 4, enter, or equals 6, enter, 9, enter, 10, enter, 11, enter. And you'll see the frequencies are all 1. You've got them as a list of numbers, so that's absolutely fine. You don't want to touch that. You want the frequency to stay as 1. Press enter again. You want one variable results, so press enter again, and you've got all of these things appearing here. So you have got, let me just tell you, this X with the line above it at the top is the mean. Okay, that will tell you the mean or the average. So actually, if we look here, part C's asked me for the mean, so that is 8. I can write that down straight away. Now, you're not going to need the rest of these, but if you go down and use the down arrow, it gives you the minimum, which is obviously the minimum, the smallest, Q1, which you can use if you have a box plot question. It can work out the quartiles for you. Median, med is median, okay, median. Q1 is your lower quartile. Med is your median. Q3 is your upper quartile, which you'll need if you're ever asked for the interquartile range. And then it also, if you go down, gives you your maximum. Okay, so that's there as well, maximum. So the calculator works it all out for you. You don't need to do anything else. So if we look, the median is med. Well, I've got that here, and the median is med, and that's that. If we look over here, is 9. So that's it. Now the range, you are going to have to do a small calculation. The range is just the max minus the min. So in this instance, my maximum, if we go down, it tells me my maximum is 11. You can see that anyway from the list, and my minimum is 4. So I'm going to do 11 minus 4, and that's going to give me 7. Okay, and if you're asked for it interquartile range, you just do your Q3. So interquartile range, if they ask you for it, is Q3 minus Q1. Okay, but remember your calculator will calculate the rest for you. Okay, same with this question. You've been asked to find the class interval that contains the median, and you've been asked to find the mean time. So we're going to go back to where we were before. Okay, I'm going to come out of here, go back to home, go back into statistics. It is still only one variable. This is frequency. That is not a variable. Your variable is the time. So you still click on one variable. Okay, I'm going to have to delete what I've got in there already. Now, the problem is I can't type this 15 to 20. Okay, sometimes you won't have an interval. It'll just be a number, so you can type that straight in. But if you've got an interval like this, you have to find the midpoint, and that's what you put into your calculator, because you can't put an interval in. So you just, to find the midpoint, the middle, add them together and divide by 2, and you will get that one is 17.5, this one is 22.5, 27.5 and 35. Okay, so we're just going to type those values in. So I go back to my calculator, I'm going to type in 17.5, enter, 22.5, enter, 27.5 and enter, and then 35 and enter. Now I am going to have to change the frequencies now, so I use my right arrow and I go all the way back up to the top, because my frequencies need to match these here. So that's why that column's there. So I'm going to type in, I've got 3, enter, I've got 6, enter. Make sure you press enter or it won't work. That's where people sometimes go wrong. They don't enter it and don't understand why the value hasn't been inputted. So there we are. We've put my table in with its midpoints. We press enter. We press one variable results, and again it gives me the same thing. So if I go down, my med is my median. So this one says find the class interval that contains my median. Well, I know that my median is 27.5. That falls into this interval between 25 and 30. So that is what you write down. You have to write the whole interval because that's what it's asked for, a class interval. So it's very helpful though to have that. And then the mean, if we go back up to the top, it was that X with the line above it. X with the line above it is the mean, and that is equal to 26. So you don't even need to write that. You just write 26 on the answer line and you get all 3 marks there. And that is it for the mean and median. Okay, and lastly, last one, any graph question, please, I beg you, use your calculator, because people always make mistakes on this, okay, even if you're really confident. So when you're doing any graph question, you go to table. So we went back to home and we've gone along to table, okay. Now you'll see when you get to your table, it will say fx none, okay. So before you type anything in, fx is just the same as is your y equals, basically. So my graph here is y equals x squared minus 3x minus 1. That's my graph there, okay. So all I have to type in is the fx is my y. So you click on f of x, which is on here on the front of the calculator. You click on that and you go down and you're defining it. It means you're just telling the calculator what the equation is so that it can work out the values for you. So your x button is here on the front of the calculator. So you literally just type in x squared minus 3x minus 1. So here we go, x squared minus 3x and minus 1. Make sure you're using that x on the front of the calculator there. Press enter. Now all you have to do is enter these x values in the x column and it will work out. Remember, y is the same as f of x. So when it gives you the column numbers on the right, they are the values that you're going to just pop in your table. It's that simple, no substitution required. So -2. Now to get a negative, it's above the minus button. So I press shift, I put negative, I put 2, and you press enter. Once you've entered that first number, as long as it's the smallest number, you just keep clicking enter, and it will enter all of the other numbers for you, and we need to go all the way up to 4. So there we are. There are my x values in there. Okay, and then my y values, my f of x values are here. So I just copy those over. So 9. Then the next one is, if we go down, is 3. And then the next one is -1, and then -3. And if we keep going down, and we've got -3, -1, 3. So -3, -1, 3. Okay, and it does that for you. It calculates that for you. All you need to do is remember how to do that. Okay, so it was home, table, then make sure before you type your values in, it would have had fx none. So you type f of x, you go down to define, and you put your graph equation in there. That's any graph, quadratic, cubic, exponential, any graph that's y equals that it asks you to draw, you can do on there. And then these are just your coordinates that you plot. I'm not going to go through that now because I've done that on some of my paper walkthroughs if you need to have a look at that. Okay, but you plot them. This is a quadratic, so you would join them up with a curve afterwards. Okay, so that's my quick calculator tips for tomorrow. Please use your calculator and don't make any silly mistakes and lose easy marks, but you're going to be amazing. Good luck to everybody, and I hope this has been helpful.